Hello. So today we're going to hear the first story from this book, Star Wars Stories. And today's story, 今天的故事是关于 Anakin Skywalker as a young boy. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, on a small planet, a young boy named Anakin Skywalker looked up at the planet's moons. And we know this is not Earth. 我们知道这个地方不是地球 because there are 1, 2, 3 moons. And Earth, 地球只有一个月亮, right? So Anakin lives with his mother, and they are very poor. 他们很穷. In fact, I think they're slaves. They've never left his home before. They're poor, and Anakin had always dreamed of going on great adventures and racing across the stars. 所以虽然他们家活得很艰苦，但是 Anakin 有朝一日还是梦想着，可以到更大的太空里面去探索。So one day, it looked like Anakin's dreams were about to come true. 有一天，他得到了一个梦想成真的机会。He met a Jedi Knight named Qui-Gon, and this is him right here. Qui-Gon needs someone to fix his ship. Right? Qui-Gon 这个绝地武士的飞船坏了。He needs someone to help him fix it. Anakin really wanted to help him, but Anakin's just a little boy. He didn't have any money. He didn't have the supplies. So he came up with a way to win money, right, to help the Jedi Knight. 所以 Anakin 想了一个可以帮忙赚钱，帮助 Jedi Knight Qui-Gon 修理他的飞船的方法。然后他这个方法呢，就是参加这个 Pod Racer 的比赛。If he wins first place, then he wins the money. So as the timer counted down to the beginning of the race, Anakin looked at all the other racers. Right? 除了 Anakin 还有别的一些人和外星的生物在跟他一起比赛。He wasn't worried about any of them, 因为他知道自己是一个开飞船的高手。But except for one person called Sebulba, 他只担心这一个人叫 Sebulba, 因为他知道 Sebulba 是一个大骗子。He knew that Sebulba always cheated, and that Sebulba would do anything to win. Suddenly, the race was about to start, and everyone zoomed off as the starting gong ran out. But something was wrong, right? 别的飞船都起跑了，只有 Anakin 一个人还在原地不动 because his pod racer won't start. Anakin began to panic, right? 他开始着急了。Sebulba must have done something to his pod racer, right? 他的飞船上肯定是被 Sebulba 动了什么手脚 right? That's why it won't start. But Anakin thought of what Qui-Gon told him right before the race. 他记起来，在比赛开始之前 Qui-Gon 跟他说了一句话。Qui-Gon 跟他说过 Concentrate on the moment. Feel. Use your heart. Use your instincts. Don't think. Right? Believe in yourself. So Anakin remembered those words. So he took a deep breath, closed his eyes. He concentrated with his mental power, right? And his engine started it again. Right? 所以他用他的念力，他有一个很强大的念力，使他的飞船又重新开启了。And Anakin quickly flew away. But he was a long way behind Sebulba because he lost some time in trying to get his pod racer started. So meanwhile, Sebulba knocked his ship left and right against other racer ships. Right? Sebulba is a cheater. He's a big bully. His ship is right here. Right? It's got 2 engines. It's bigger than other people's ships. Right? 他的 pod racer 比别的比赛的人都大。Right? So he knocked them off the way. And some crashed off the course and burst into flames. And Sebulba laughed. And behind the crash, Anakin flew through a cavern into a deep cave. Right? 这是一个障碍赛，他们飞到山洞里面去了。And Anakin had to be really careful not to crash into the deep, narrow caves. Other racers who weren't paying attention ran into some rocks and crashed and exploded. Anakin quickly flew around the fire. That was close. 好险啊！他差一点就跟着这个飞船一样撞上了山洞的石头。Anakin raced through the stadium, and at this time, he had 2 more laps to finish. He was catching up. 从山洞飞出来以后，他离 Sebulba 只剩下2圈了。The racers thundered across the planet. Sebulba in the lead. right? 第一还是 Sebulba, but Sebulba wanted to make sure he stayed in the lead, right? So he threw a piece of metal behind him, and it went right into another racer's engine, and the engine exploded. So this is Sebulba right here. You can see 它是一个不知道什么长得很奇怪的外星生物 right? 然后他用一些很下流的手段 right? So he threw a piece of metal. 他丢了一小块碎片，丢到后面的紧跟着他的一个飞船里面的发动机，然后这个发动机因为里面进了一片碎片，所以就爆炸掉了。Right? And pieces of the pod racer flew everywhere. 这个碎片呢到处飞，然后有一片 right cut right through the cable that connected Anakin's cockpit to one of his engines. Right? So this area is the cockpit, right? Is where you pilot. And these two, 它的飞船有两个 engine， 有两个发动机，然后这个电线呢被一小块碎片给它切断了。And now his pod racer had only one engine left, right? 只剩下一个 engine, so it spun wildly out of control. It spun out of control. Anakin couldn't just worry about the problem, right? He remembered Qui-Gon's words, right? You gotta fix it, and he's gotta fix it fast. So Anakin quickly brought his cockpit under control, and he grabbed the loose cable. 然后他把这个断掉的电线又接了回去。He attached the engine again, and he was back in the race. Now, Sebulba and Anakin zoomed through the stadium one last time. 现在只剩下最后一圈了，然后这个比赛里面也只剩下了他们两个人，别的比赛的人 either right they crashed or 他们已经被远远的甩在后面了。Sebulba's pod racer was much bigger than Anakin's, right? This one down here. 他的Sebulba 的pod racer 比 Anakin 的要大很多 right? So he forced Anakin off the course, 把他挤到赛道外面去了 and onto the cliff. But Anakin wasn't going to be beaten, right? 他才不会让 Sebulba 这样子把他推到外面去。So he changed gears and he crash landed back onto the course right in front of Sebulba, right? 他很惊险的又重新回到了赛道里面 and this time he was in front of Sebulba. Now Anakin, for the first time, was in the lead. And suddenly Anakin saw smoke coming out from one of its engines. 原来他有一个发动机着火了，上面冒出浓浓的黑烟。He must have damaged it when he crash landed it earlier. 他肯定刚刚是撞坏了。Now Sebulba raced ahead of Anakin, and Anakin knew he didn't have a lot of time left. He needed to fix his pod racer right away. 他需要马上把这个起火冒烟的 engine 修好。So Anakin first put a flap around the engine to put out the fire. 首先你要把火扑灭 right? And then he put coolant on the engine, right? Coolant, right, is a liquid that reduces the temperature, right? 然后呢，他要开始修，但是这个 engine 刚着火，非常的烫，所以他首先要把这个发动机给它冷下来 and then, right, he was able to fix it, and the engine roared back with full power. Okay, so Anakin 他不仅仅只会非常的开飞船 and he's also really good at fixing stuff. So Anakin knew now it was time to win the race. Anakin could see the finish line right ahead of him. 他们已经快到终点线了 right? And he pulled up right next to Sebulba. 他紧跟在 Sebulba 的后面。Sebulba tried to push Anakin's smaller ship off the course again, right? He's a big bully, right? He's gonna bully him with his big ship. But Anakin had a plan this time. 他知道 Sebulba 肯定会要把他挤出去 again, 所以 Anakin 想出了一个计划。As Sebulba rammed into Anakin, Anakin caught his pod racer on purpose. 他故意 right 让他们两个人的pod racer 卡在了一起。And then, as Sebulba tried to pull his ship away, Anakin unhooked it, right? 正当 Sebulba 要拉开的时候 ，Anakin 就把他们两个人的飞船 right 又重新给它分开了。And then what happened was Sebulba zoomed wildly off course and he smashed his own pod racer into a rock, right? Sebulba 自己 right 就撞上了石头上 and Anakin used Sebulba's own tricks against him, right? Anakin 你看他不只是非常会开飞船，他也非常的聪明。他用 Sebulba 自己的计划、自己的这些 bully 的手段，然后把他打败了。Now Anakin raised his hands over his head as he crossed the finishing line, and the crowd watching roared into applause. And Qui-Gon ran into Anakin's pod racer and lifted the boy high up onto his shoulders. Right? It's hard, right, to remember that he's only a little boy. And Anakin smiled, right? 一个非常年轻的小男孩赢得了这一场比赛 and he knew one of his dreams was coming true. Now that he had the money, he could buy his own freedom, he could help the Jedi Knight fix his ship, and he knew the Jedi Knight was going to take him away, right, and train him to become a Jedi and start the adventure he's always dreamed of. The end.